Today we're playing Higurashi When They Cry. It's just a totally normal game about people living in a village. Welcome to the world of Higurashi When They Cry, the Onikakushi arc. The Onikakushi arc will be the opening, inviting you into this world. Don't play tough, please. Just enjoy life in Higurashi to the fullest. The difficulty is extremely high, but I hope you will enjoy the reward. The laugh of a child, the most endearing sound, I'm sure. Please do not lament. I will forgive you even if the world will not forgive you. Please do not lament. I will forgive you even if the world will not forgive you. So please tell me, what will it take for you to forgive me? Ooh. This is a work of fiction, and the resemblance to persons, organizations is entirely coincidental. Oh, fuck. At least. Oh my god. If I was going to be ripped apart anyways, having my body ripped apart would have been far better. Really? I trusted her. No, I still trust her. Even in this very moment, I trust her. But I'm starting to realize I only wanted to trust her because I refused to accept the truth. If it was if I was trying to convince myself, it's such a silly sobbing voice. And those tears, those many tears making a mess of my face. That mechanical, impetuous sound finally stilled. Oh, I missed it. I'm reading too slow. Only the cry of the cicadas remained annoyingly loud. And yet, I felt as if I could still hear her voice. But that's not possible. She's no longer speaking. The only one crying is me. She never cried. Even when she repeated those words over and over and over, she never expressed any emotion because there was none to show. If she had no tears to shed for me, then I shouldn't need to shed any for her. Then why, this pain in my eyes getting moist? Why was this happening? I still wanted to believe I hadn't been split apart. That's enough, right? Inside me, an inner voice whispering gently. My spirit had suffered enough. And countless times I'd wavered over whether I should just throw the battering thing away. Except I've stumbled refusing to do that, haven't I? I feel better if I just threw it away. Even knowing that I choose to believe, didn't I? Only I can understand the painful struggle and appreciate it. Hey, me? I've tried more than enough. I acknowledge that much. So, isn't it alright to just take the easy way out? Besides, I'm not throwing it away. I'm leaving it behind with her. Like flowers by a grave. Now then, calm your nerves. Even though you can't feel your right arm, just lift it up. And with every swing, forget a little more. That kindness made me happy. That adorable smile brought me joy. I liked petting your head. I loved how demure you were. Because this will be the last time. Because when I swing this down, I'll forget. This is my first and last bouquet for you. Perhaps I really did love you. Somebody has been apologizing for a while now. I wonder what she's apologizing for. It felt wrong to eavesdrop, so I tried to ignore it. It had been a while since I last went to the city. I only returned to attend the funeral of a relative. Even though I'd lived until last last month, I found the bustling of the city to be overwhelming. Even though I lived there till last month, my bad. Those skyscrapers and the multi-laned roads, the melodious cacophony of the sidewalks. Even the campaign speeches blaring in front of the station felt nostalgic. The place where I live now isn't nearly as lively. There's only the tripping of locusts and the babbling of brooks, and the cry of the Higurashi, the evening cicadas. Rather than making me feel lonely, that quietness had begun to instill a sense of serenity. There is nothing where I live now. I don't just mean there aren't any burger joints, there aren't even any vending machines. No music stores, no restaurants, and no arcades. Even an ice cream parlor would be unlikely. The nearest town has some stuff like that, but it's an hour away by bike. But come to think of it, it wasn't really a big deal. There were music stores and arcades and ice cream parlors, but it wasn't like I ever hung out at any of them. I had lived in the city for 10 years and never once been to an ice cream parlor. I should have gone at least once. It's only now that I'm starting to regret that a little. Somebody's still apologizing. Who's she apologizing to? She's apologizing so much just to forgive her already. There's no reason anyone should ever need to apologize that much. I'm starting to feel a bit annoyed at whoever it was refusing to forgive her. No matter how bad the mistake, there's nothing that can't be forgiven. There's no such thing as an irreplaceable mistake, irreparable. You just need to be more careful next time. She's still apologizing even now. Then, has she really done something that can't be fixed? I have no idea what she's done, but even if it can't be fixed, then that's one more reason to forgive her. No matter how much she apologizes, nothing will change. But even so, she keeps apologizing in such a heartbreaking voice. Hey you, the one she's apologizing to. Why don't you just go ahead and forgive her? She's apologizing in such a pathetic voice. Keiichi, we're almost there. Wake up. I was finally roused from my nap by my father's prodding. It seemed the train had reached its final stop. We spent hours riding everything from the bullet train to the local routes. It was hard to believe that the landscape beyond the window in the city I was half a day ago were in the same country. No, they were just from the same era. Oh no. From there, we'd taken a car deeper into the mountains. Lovely. Past where the dense forest encroached upon the mountains suddenly opened up. There where I live now, Hinamizawa. Even though we were approaching summer, the morning air had still a frigid bite. Although in exchange you could fill your lungs up with crisp, clean air. Flipping open the window, I was greeted with a verdant expanse. Nothing but trees. The neighboring houses was far away on the other side. So I was probably the only one enjoying that view and that air. I filled my lungs with another deep breath. Since I started living in Hinamizawa, I learned that even air had its own taste. I quickly finished getting ready for school and headed downstairs for breakfast. My mother was the only one there. My father was nowhere to be seen. He was probably up working until the early morning. Dad had a rather unconventional job as a painter. It's such a laid-back profession. Getting up when you want, sleep when you want, and work when you want. I was so jealous of that easygoing lifestyle. I even wrote for school that I wanted to be a painter when I grew up. Dad was ecstatic about that. It was just because it looked easy. I'd never tell him that though. Mom laid breakfast out on the table. Seaweed, pickled vegetables, raw egg, and grilled salmon. Mom was such a good cook, it was scary. A perfect, immaculate, ideal breakfast. Unlike my dad, who couldn't even know the meaning of the word schedule, my mom never standardized any time or effort. Ooh. She hummed a little tune as she brought over miso soup. It seemed like she was in a good mood today. I'm so happy you've been waking up early ever since we moved here, Keiichi. If I didn't wake up early, I wouldn't have time to eat breakfast. I thought I was being cute, responding with the rice quack after being praised for being good. Full bowl of rice or half will be enough? Pile it on. First, I savored the steaming hot rice with the seaweed. After that, I covered it with a raw egg. Between bites of rice, I enjoyed the crunch of the pickles. Not bad at all. Excellent, as usual. Watching me clean my plate, Mom gave me a warm smile. I'm so happy you haven't skipped breakfast ever since we moved here, Keiichi. I wasn't a morning person when I lived in the city. I slept right until the last minute before school and rarely ate breakfast. Boycotting the breakfast Mom made me each morning was probably the only thing I could do to protest being forced to attend cram school. I guess that was what you'd call my rebellious phase. I wouldn't so much as look at breakfast she woke up early every morning to prepare. If I could go back in time, I'd slap myself. Mindful of the time, Mom rushed me along with a wide grin. Isn't it about time to meet up with Rina-chan? Hurry, hurry. Mom really seemed to be enjoying the fact that her son was going to school with a girl. Rina was one of my classmates. She really loves looking after people, coming to meet me every day without fail. The way I look at it, me, a guy my age, walking to school with a girl, was just lame. But, well, keeping a classmate waiting for me every day wouldn't be very considerate. Seriously though, how long does Rina wait there for me every morning? Taking one last gulp of miso soup, I raced for the door. Please thank Rina-chan for the pickles. Come to think of it, those pickles aren't store-bought, are they? If I'd known that, I would have savored them a bit more. Morning. Keiichi-kun! Good morning! Her cheerful greeting was as fresh as the morning itself. You're always so early. You should try to sleep in sometime. If I sleep in, I wouldn't have to keep you waiting. She's so conscientious and such a good person. If that happens, I'll just leave you behind. Keiichi-kun, you're so cold. I'll wait for you all the time. I'll leave you behind in the dust. Without looking back. Why are you so mean? Why? Rina had a slightly troubled look on her face. Toying with her was rather fun because of how quickly her mood changed. I'm kidding, I'd wait for you. With those words, Rina seemed to relax. Her face flushed bright red. Thank you. I'd wait forever until you came, Rina. No matter how long. Forever. Rina turned bright red, steam raising from her head as her brain short-circuited. She's especially weak to this sort of talk. It's rather rare to find someone this fun to tease. Have you ever read a romance novel, Rina? Huh? I haven't. Never read any before. From that response, I gathered she was interested in them, but was too embarrassed to actually buy one. I couldn't imagine how it would happen if she did read one. She'd probably turn red and pass out. Oh yeah, message from Mom. She thanks you for the pickles. It was nothing. You're welcome. How were they? Not too salty? They weren't that salty. Actually, they had a pretty light flavor to them. It would have been fine just to be honest and say they were good, but apparently I couldn't be that forthright. I'd like to ask something before that. Were you the one who pickled them, Rina? Or was it your mom? Huh? Huh? Why do you ask? Were they too salty? Her attitude completely changed as she began panicking frantically. Was it you, Rina, or was it your mom? Why are you asking who made them? Why? Depending on who made them, my opinion of them might change drastically. She counted frantically on her fingers, trying to remember the amount of salt she'd used to pickle them. It wasn't like I was trying to tease her, but I couldn't stop myself. Guys who take pleasure in this kind of thing are probably the worst. Guys like me. Rena nervously opened and closed her mouth over and over, trying to muster a response. It was me. Delicious. Huh? Pretty good, just like the last ones. They went perfectly with the rice. Her face went bright red again. She was completely spacing out. It was truly a lot of fun to tease her. I pray that Rena never gets taken advantage of by some lowlife, keeping it at, Rena, I'll train you until you handle the average person, or so I decided for myself. Let's go. If we keep Mion waiting, we'll never hear the end of it. Seeing as she just kept on spacing out otherwise, I called Rena back to reality so we could make our way to school. This strange, easily flustered girl, Rena Ryugu, I've only known her for about a month, but I've come to realize it's not just her name that's strange. Mi-chan, good morning! Coming up to the next rendezvous point, we saw another person waiting for us. Noticing us, she waved. Finally, you two are late! Usually you're the one who's late. On the sharp contrast to the diligent Rihanna, this one marched onto the beat of her own drum. She's Mion Sonozaki. For what it's worth, she's our senior and head of the class. Morning, Rena, and it's been a while, Kei-chan. How many years? I was only gone for 2 days. You don't say. You were so much cuter back then. Mion's gaze started in my chest and dropped straight down, focusing on the point between my legs. So she was saying that my crotch was cuter back then. What? Before you ask, just to be clear, I've never actually tried to show it to her. I've grown quite splendidly. You'd be surprised. What? Not only is he bigger, but he's a little mustache now. Being so engorged every morning is quite the problem, though. I'll introduce you next time, so be sure to greet him properly. Don't say next time, right now is just fine. How about letting the little guy get a breath of fresh air, a fresh morning air? I don't think I've ever talked so dirty. You could smell it fouling off the morning air before. Mion sure doesn't act like an old man sometimes. Gotcha. Time for the big reveal. I hope you don't regret it. What? As my hand reached for my fly, Rena began rambling in near panic. Hey! What are you talking about? What are you talking about? Red-faced and flustered, Rena tried to play dumb, but it was obvious she knew exactly what we were talking about. How was that? Seeing the city again. Mion, switching gears, dropped the dirty talk and changed the topic to something more befitting a pleasant morning. I only went for a funeral, I didn't have much time. Yeah, so, did you look for it? The thing I asked for. You're not listening at all. I came back from a funeral. I didn't have time to look around in toy stores. Tisk. Toy stores and hobby stores are completely different, you know? It's really difficult to get a Western stuff around here, after all. Western? This is about games, Mi-chan? Mion nodded proudly as Rena giggled. Yep, I wanted Kei-chan to bring me back a Westport catalog, you see. Westport was short for Western Imported Games. Using that abbreviation did make it sound pretty geeky. You can just get them and send you one in the mail, can't you? Well, I guess I have to now. I'm going to get another game full of hot action. This time, I'd like a game that's easy to understand. Mion's a board and card game enthusiast, and I hear she's collected quite a lot of different ones. According to Rena, Mion's room has quite become a museum for domestic and foreign games. If there's a game you think I'd understand, let me play too. Of course. If Kei-chan is up for it, I should warn you though, we're pretty tough. Just what I want. I'll play all sorts of games I don't intend to lose. Well, then we'll let you in the group this time. I guess. Bristling with the joy from head to toe, Rena looked back and forth between me and Mion. Mion gave her an affirmative wink, and her expression perked up even further. I thought boys prefer playing outside more, so I figured you wouldn't want to. Rena laughed happily. From such a friendly conversation, you wouldn't think I'd moved here less than a month ago. I understood that they all did what they could to make a transfer student like me feel at home. Aw. I'll have to try harder to fit in, so they won't feel like they have to try and make me feel welcome. I felt like if I acted a bit more open than I usually am, it'd probably be about right for this place. Hinamizawa was a really small village. Not only was there only one school, but there was only one class. That class encompassed all different grades and ages. Wow. There were about 30 students at different levels and all studying in the same class. I'm told that long ago, there used to be a bigger school building and they had actually separate classes. However, it seems something happened that made it become a single class, and now it stayed that way out of tradition. I was shocked at first, but humans adapt pretty quickly. I've already gotten quite used to it. The sound of children playing started right from the morning. With such a lively mood, it felt more like kindergarten than a proper school, but that's not a bad thing. Mion, who had been walking in front of us up until now, suddenly let me... Mion, who had been walking in front of us up until then, suddenly let me take the lead. Okay. Right in front of the classroom door. So I was meant to slide the door open and enter the room first. Too bad I wasn't gonna fall for that again. To think he'd give up the lead here. He meant for this to be a test of my skills. Mion chuckled with a haunty smirk on her face. What is it, you guys? Step back, Rena. It's dangerous. She's here. Huh? Then Satoko-chan is... Her name was Satoko Hojo. She was a respectful, impudent, bossy kid. The way she talks was annoying, but it'd be immature to get worked up over just that. The real problem was this. Quite the obvious trap, a blackboard eraser wedged in the door. It's too obvious, Satoko. The haunting laugh came from beyond the door. Excellent, Kei-chan. I guess that means you win this round. No, this is Satoko we're talking about. I doubt this is it. After falling for such intricate traps since the day I transferred, I'm no longer letting my guard down. Satoko liked to combine a variety of traps that were simply there to bait you into the main traps that relentlessly kept coming at you like a sadistic Rube Goldberg machine. The list goes on. As well as being clever, they almost never misfire. And when you least expect it, she strikes. No escape, no time to relax. By the looks of it, this eraser is normal. No rocks or anything in it. I took a pretty heavy hit from a blackboard eraser loaded with rocks on my first day. Ouch. So then, why don't you just open the door and let it drop? That's what it is. That's what Satoko is after. Making me focus my attention upwards, so as I lifted my hand to the door. There were thumbtacks stuck in the sliding door handle with tape, a frightening trap. A potent and terrifying trap. Concealed by using the blackboard eraser. An impressive combination, Satoko. But in there is nothing more than the trivial machinations of a child. Assured of my victory, I threw the door open and stepped into the room. I felt something strange on my ankle. It was similar to the sensation of a jump rope catching on my leg. By the time I realized she had me hook, line, and sinker, it was already too late. I began to fall in the most picturesque manner. Cake-chan, watch out! Instinctively reaching to Mion's shrill warning, I twisted my body in midair before I landed on the... Hold on. Before I landed on the floor. Ow, ow, ow! An inkstone filled to the brim was placed right where I would have landed. I shuddered, imagining the sensation had I landed square on it. Satoko. My, what do we have here? A fair morning to you, Keiichi-san. Aren't you lively this morning? Still sprawled in an awkward position, I was greeted by a mocking voice. That was a step up from your usual trap, Satoko. I haven't the faintest idea what you mean. You're quite unlucky this morning. You little... Ow, ow, ow. It seemed I'd inadvertently sprained my back a little when I landed. Better than landing on that inkstone. Aww. The small hand gently rubbed my head. Pain, pain, go away! The small, dainty hand continued to gently stroke my head. You didn't sprain your back or anything, did you? If you rub it like this, the pain disappears. I thought about asking how rubbing my head would help my back, but I didn't. It's not so much about what you actually do, it's the thought that counts. Yeah, thanks, Rika-chan. The pain's going away now. Yay, Rika-chan, good morning! Good morning to you, Rina. Rika-chan greeted us all with an adorable little bow. It was infectious. Rina, Mion, I all bowed back. You're such a good kid, Rika-chan. So much better than Satoko. I glared over in her direction. Satoko was whistling rather deliberately, trying to avoid eye contact. I'm the very model of a good girl. A good girl wouldn't set those nasty traps. Nothing but lies and slander. Exactly what proof? What? I picked up Satoko by the back of her collar. She looked like a misbehaved cat when I did this. But a cat wouldn't be setting traps. She's so much harder to deal with. I'm sorry, trying to say that, if you don't want it. I cocked my index finger on my thumb, letting it tremble as I brought it closer to Satoko's forehead. I'm against violence. You don't even have any proof. Just so you know, my forehead flick really hurts. It can split plywood right in half. Oh. Eek! Stop, get away from me, you beast! Don't say that in a way people will misunderstand. A small hand tugged on the back of my shirt. She's been lonely since you were gone for 2 days. Rika-chan's really is just so... How could I do anything more after being told that? I gently released my grip on Satoko, who at this point was on the verge of tears. She still had her eyes clasped shut and braced herself for a forehead flick. Wah! It doesn't bother me. Wah? You mustn't cry, Satoko. Keep on fighting. Yeah. Rika gently patted the head of her prankster friend. You would never guess those two are the same age. I think Satoko could learn a thing or a million from Rika-chan. Next time, set an even more amazing trap. Wait a minute. As she observed the scene, Rena's expression grew ecstatic as she began to swoon. How Satoko-chan is crying! So cute! You can't take them home. Huh? But they're so cute! No, you can't, no matter how cute they are. But just for a bit is fine. It's fine. Rika kept a cutesy face even as this outrageous idea spewed from her mouth. According to Mion, Rina is ridiculously weak to cute things and tries to take them home. Objects or person. Stealing is bad, but abducting people is even worse. Give it up. Then I can just look. Just looking. That should be fine, right? Right? Rina swooned over Sadako's crying form. If a girl goes missing in Hinamizawa, I'll be forced to turn Rina into the authorities. Forgive me, Rina. I'll be sure to bring you care packages when they put you away. The teacher's coming. Quick, everyone, or clean everything up. Satoko, that inkstone is yours, right? Just from Mion's single statement, the entire mood of the classroom shifted back to normal. The inkstone was bad, but the thumbtack stuck to the door handle was an even bigger problem. I pulled the tape off carefully, making sure not to skewer myself. Even though Satoko was the one who set it up, everyone had to pick up after her. By the time the teacher entered the room, the bed lab form had been neatly tidied up. Dilapidated? We made it in time. Rise attention. Mion gave the morning commands. It's difficult being the teacher of all these different grades in one classroom. She has to teach something different to each one. But naturally, she ends up spending all her time with the younger kids. Rina and Mion, being the highest grade of the class, end up mostly doing self-study. They even end up helping teach the younger kids, so it seems they can never get their own studies. Never get to. They're actually way behind from their studies, from what my studies progress to. As a result, I'm pretty much taking over the teacher and helping Rina and Mion with their studies. Aww. You're a pretty good teacher, Keiichi-kun. Easy to understand. Rina took a breather after finishing highlighting an important section. Teaching is making me lose confidence. It makes me aware of how shallow my understanding of the subject is. They say that teaching someone is something you need to understand it backwards and forwards. So, while you're teaching us, you're getting in your own practice. In contrast, this person over here is quite laissez-faire about things. For one, isn't she supposed to be in a higher grade than me? Look, Mion, this is for your own good. If you don't take this seriously, there'll be trouble later on with these marks. It's not like I'm aiming to be going up to a prestigious school. I'll be fine as long as I pick up what I need to know for the entrance exams a little at a time. Her staunch defiance was really something else. This was a different type of relax than someone who already knew what was going to be on the entrance exams. Oh, me-chan, Keiichi-kun is doing his best to teach us. We need to try hard too. You're such a good and honest kid, Rina. I'll make sure you guys get accepted into good schools. What? Thanks so much. Especially you, Rina. Private lessons, just the two of us. Private lessons? A puff of smoke shaped like a halo popped out of Rina's head. Exactly what kind of private lessons is she fantasizing that's making her turn so red? I'd like to hear a play-by-play about it next time. Mion was flipping through a vocabulary flashcard. She threw out a casual question. So in the city, do you have to study this much? If you don't know at least this much, you can't get into university. So you studied just to try to get into university? Well, yeah, basically. While knowing that this stuff won't ever come in handy in the future. Oh, it hurts. Out there, you can get into university as long as your attendance is good enough. Oh, really? Out here? Really? Study equals entrance exams. Having the basic law of universities easily overturned sent me into a state of shock. That's right. There aren't enough people around here to warrant weeding them out with an exam. If anyone can get into university, then there's no need to be all uptight about this stuff, right? Well, that's true, but you should at least know the stuff that's common knowledge. This old geezer thinks that instead of wasting time studying pointlessly, you should be spending your precious teen years doing more meaningful things. It was too profound of a statement to simply laugh off. But since it was Mion, it probably didn't actually have that deep of a meaning. In place of a chime, the sound of the principal waving a handbell drifted through the classroom. Kei-chan, we're done, we're done! It's our wonderful lunchtime. Ooh. In a complete 180 from her unmotivated state, Mion gave the commands that signaled the end of morning period. Keiichi-kun, let's have lunch! I might have been making a very troubled face. Rin smiled brightly at me. Alright. Let's eat! I want to eat. I'm so hungry. There seemed to be different cliques within the class. Most of them were divided by gender and age, but our group was different. Our ages were different, and we both had boys and girls. And we had both boys and girls. But we weren't reserved around each other. This level of openness makes a transfer student like me seem pretty happy. Makes me pretty happy. Rina and Mion pushed their desks together so they were facing each other. At the same time, Satoko and Rika-chan were slowly lugging their desks together. Keiichi-kun, hurry, hurry, hurry! Rina waved her chopsticks in an unrefined manner, trying to hurry me along. Unless everyone was together, they wouldn't even open their box lunches. Aww. Keiichi-san's lunchbox is most assuredly filled with nothing but bread crusts and some sort of... I have no idea what that is. Why don't you just show us? Come on now. Even though Satoko was hurling insults at me, she still wouldn't open the lid of her lunchbox until I was there. Aw. I pulled out my lunchbox swiftly and dragged my chair over to join the circle. Hey, sorry to keep you waiting. Well, then, Representative Me, please give the signal to start. At first, it was kind of embarrassing, but I got used to it pretty fast. At this point, I probably wouldn't even open my own lunchbox if someone else was too slow. Our ages and genders may have been different, but we were all friends. Let's eat! The sound of our 5-part chorus echoed beautifully throughout the classroom. Really though, I had gotten pretty used to this group made up of all girls. Of course, there were other boys in the class, but they were a lot younger, so they were too scared to approach me. Aw. Well, that's to be expected. Younger boys just see older boys as scary. Really? Compared to that, girls, well, at least these girls weren't picky. We put all the side dishes in the middle where everyone was free to pick from them. I thought girls would mind sharing a meal with a guy, so I was a bit flustered joining in. However, Mio noticed that and teased me quite a bit. As the fruits of my efforts, I can now reach over and take sides from anybody's box. Lunch. My, isn't Sir Keiichi's lunch extravagant today? My, isn't Madame Satoko's lunch extravagant as well? The stewed stuff has a nice look to it, rather trendy. Buying into the fight that Satoko was starting, our chopsticks locked in a cross counter, stabbing into each other's lunch. There we go, I can read. My, how delicious. Oh, this taro is good. This stewed stuff is good too, even cold. After seeing my happy face, Rika's expression broke into a wide little smile. I saved some from dinner last night. By the way, Satoko and Rika's lunches were always the same. It seemed that Rika-chan made it for both of them every day. Rika-chan made this too? These taste like mom's home cooking. I was honestly impressed. The carrot rosettes weren't from a mold, they were done by hand with a knife. Wow, this wasn't easy to do. I guess Rika-chan's just good at this sort of thing. She's really good at stowing laundry and stuff like that. Amazing, right? Amazing. Rika's quite exceptional in many ways. That's nothing for you to boast about. Rin is actually better at cooking than I am. Huh? Well, you know. It seemed that the topic of conversation switched to Rin as she wasn't expecting, making her blush and trip over her words. Mina's lunch was the star of the table. Not only did it look good, it tasted good. Everyone else pulled from Mina's lunchbox constantly. Everyone liked this one so much before, so I made it a lot this time. It's good, I hope. I hope. It got high marks for me. Mion, you're taking too much. Knocking Mion's chopsticks aside, I reach out and try to secure my own portion. Satoko and Rina reached over at the same time. Struggling ensued. Rika, sorry. Everyone shoveled in mouthful after mouthful while praising it, and Rina's lunchbox was soon empty. It was kind of bad that no one else thought to leave any for Rina. Aww. But Rina seemed rather satisfied as she looked on. How'd you like it? Even Rina's son's extremely good cook too. Quite different from Keiichi-san. I say that's nothing for you to boast about. You're not much different, Kei-chan, Satoko. Can you tell the difference between broccoli and cauliflower yet? Satoko's face went pale. Hey, even I can tell the difference between broccoli and cauliflower, you know. Of course I can. I really can. It's really hard for her to lie. Keiichi-kun, both taste good when they're boiled and topped with mayo, right? You shouldn't be picking on her. Mi-chan, too. Rina hurriedly tried to follow up, but Mion laughed haughtily and drew closer to Satoko. Well, just pretend it's a little home ec lesson. Now then, Satoko, what's this? Mion lifted up her chopsticks. Between them was a piece of green stuff wrapped in bacon. But that's Mion made eye contact with me. Within 3 seconds, I had Rika-chan's mouth covered. Holding a piece of bacon wrapped asparagus and giving her two choices. She's pretty terrible. The yellow one is cauliflower. No, wait, the green one is cauliflower. So, which... Probably the yellow one is broccoli and the blue one is cauliflower, but the green one is, Do you really know which is which? How about you just give up? I expect no less from the class representative. The oldest. The way she drives people into a corner just shows how much experience she has. This was just a hunch, but being brought into the Sonozaki household must have been quite an ordeal. I do know. I really do. Then answer the question. I know. Wow. She finally broke down and started to cry. When she acts like this, she actually starts to seem her age. How cute! Rina center stage of euphoria. Satoko bawled her eyes out. Rina is in a state of bliss as she rubbed her cheek against Satoko's head and smothered her. Really a very content face. One that wouldn't care if the world ended right then and there. That kind of smile. Rina! Mimi's picking on me. Wow. Cute. It's okay. Rina Onechan will surely take care of all those bad people who tease you. Fush, bam. It was like a flash of lightning. What was that just now? Both of Rina's fists shot out at supersonic speed, striking Mion and me squarely in our faces. Before we knew it, Mion and I were sprawled, spread eagle on the floor, staring up at the ceiling with matching welts on our faces. This is the first time you've gotten one, right? Today, she went very easy on us. Easy? You mean there's something harder than this? With that, Mion and I both slumped our heads back to the floor in unison. From now on, I'll be careful within striking distance of Rina. When I'm within striking distance. See, Satoko-chan? I took care of them. Cute. I want to take you home. Making sure Rina couldn't see it, Satoko stuck her tongue out at us. Tisk, damn it all, using Rina like a puppet. Rika-chan massaged our bruises without saying a word. No matter what the day held, the last school bell always came too soon. Our shadows stretched off into the distance. Hey, Keiichi-kun, tomorrow, do you have plans or anything? Huh? It was such a direct question for Rina. I inadvertently blushed. If it was for a date, then shouldn't you do it more subtly? Rina saw me lost for words and realized that I'd misunderstood and turned red as well. No, I didn't mean it like that. You see? So apparently that wasn't what she meant. But since it was always fun when Rina's in a panic, I went along with it a little. Oh really? So it wasn't meant that way? Huh? Playing it up, I slumped my shoulders, feigning dejection. Keiichi-kun, why are you so disappointed? Why? Me-chan! Unable to hold it any longer, Mion slapped me on the back. I see, this old geezer never knew you two could push your buttons like that. You could push your buttons. Huh? What is it? Mion was rolling on the floor, clutching her stomach while Rina flailed around, completely bewildered. I couldn't help but start laughing as well, feeling just a bit guilty as I ruffled Rina's hair. I'm kidding. Sorry, it was a joke. That was my fault. She really is a cute one. A joke? Since when? About halfway through. Halfway? So, Kei-chan, that means you weren't acting when you blushed at the start? Huh? That means... It was only a momentary lapse, but there was no way Mion would let such an indetectable detail slip by her. Well, you see, saying anything more was also a bad idea. In my bewildered state, I slipped further into an unfavorable position. After that, Mion continued to tease me about it for a while. So, why were you asking me if I'm free tomorrow, Rina? Huh? Oh, well, what were we talking about? It had been so long that Rina had forgotten. That's how long Mion had teased me. It's just, Kei-chan, you probably can't find your way around Hinamizawa by yourself yet, can you? That was true. I hate to say it, but if you blindfolded me and spun me around 3 times like we were playing the tail of the donkey, I wouldn't be able to tell you up from down here. Yeah, I don't think I know how to get anywhere besides back and forth from school. Yes. So you see, tomorrow we were thinking that Mi-chan and I could escort you through Hinamizawa to show you around. That would be a godsend. Frankly, I was happy about the offer. You'll come, of course, right? If I'm free. You're being invited by a girl, you know. If I'm free. You're probably free anyways. If I'm free. I was being stubborn so as to not give a clear yes or no. Even though I thought it was a godsend, I'm too much of a sap to say so up front. Keiichi-kun, you're free, perhaps? While Mion and I had our rather sour back and forth, Rina peeked over at me hesitantly. Figuring I was being a bit too rough on her, I just gave in. Sorry, forgive me. I apologize. I'm free. Great! The trepidation disappeared from Rina's face as it blossomed into a smile. Hey now! It seems like there's quite a difference between how cold you are to me compared to Rina, isn't there? It seems Mion didn't care for how rude I was to her compared to how quickly I agreed to Rina. But her being annoyed was very interesting. So I pushed Rina forward, speeding our pace to leave Mion behind. Let's go, Rina. Maybe it should be just the 2 of us tomorrow. Leave grumpy old Mion behind. Huh? Well, if Keiichi-kun is okay with that, then I'm the one who came up with the idea to take him around. Don't ignore me, Keiichi Maibara. It'd be great if it was just the 2 of us going to a public together. Should we bring a basket? Rina? Picnic, sorry. If we bring a basket, I'll make it all the food, maybe? Don't you ignore me too, Rina. I'll tell everyone that you 2 disappeared into the hotel district together. Oh. Well then, I'm going home right now to start making it. Tomorrow is going to be so fun. Later, Keiichi-kun, Mi-chan, bye! Rina bounded off like she was walking on the moon. After the dust settled, all that was left was me standing next to Mion, sprawled out on the ground. There was a welt on her face. Are you alright? There was over 2 meters between you guys. Since you came, they've become sharper. This old geezer's body can't handle it. Maybe it'd be easier if you stopped saying stuff that makes Rena want to hit you. Or else this will end up being Mion's slapstick comedy hour. If that happened, the results might be fatal. Don't feel bad, Mion. You'll probably be the one who can dodge her jabs. You're probably the only one who can dodge her jabs. It felt like it was her knee, though. Could it be that we were hanging around with an unrivaled martial arts master? Maybe someday we'll see her debut in extreme contact sport. You can't lose to Rena. You need to train up and have a rematch. Kei-chan, you should. This old geezer will root for you. Mion and I reaffirmed our determination to discover the way to counter Rena's infallible technique. You've received tips. We're a mixed grade. We don't have a uniform? Tips! This is not suspicious at all. So, Rena, we're the same age. Yes. That's right. We're the same zodiac animal, too. Oh, nice. Hey, now, it would be weird if we were the same age but not the same zodiac animal. Yeah, I guess so. That's not true. If your birthday isn't in the same, then you can have different animals even if you're the same age. Huh? This is true. Oh, I see. Mion, you're pretty smart. What month were you born, by the way, Keiichi-kun? I'm July. Rena smirked and puffed up with pride. Hey now, what's the meaning of this? She's not planning to be all high and mighty if her birthday's a wee bit sooner than mine, is she? Don't even. It's impossible to challenge me by birthday. I wouldn't even mind if you bet $1 per month. Huh? Huh? Why? Why? Rena panicked at suddenly being challenged to a wager. It's just sending her into a panic about something as simple as a birthday is so fun I can't help myself. So that means you were born in April, Kei-chan. Right on. Too bad, Rena. I'm already far older than Rena. Oh. I see. Then you're the same age as me-chan. Nani? Well, it's just a few months. That gap will open up again soon enough. Mion snickered through her nose. Hey now, that's not something to get all high and mighty about. As if I'm one to talk. Now that you mention it, you're in a higher grade, right, Mio? If you're into underclassmen, then I can be an underclassman from now on. Mi-chan, you're not making any sense to me. Just by seeing Rena's blushing face, you could tell she knew exactly what she meant by that, though. Then Sadako and Rika-chan are underclassmen. Their grades are so different, they could be in a different school, shouldn't they? Keiji-kun, your tastes are a bit too young, I think. I think. You're not making any sense yourself, Rena. I'll just grab onto her head and scruff it up a bit. Oh, stop it! I wondered about this before, yeah? I was wondering why the school has different school years all mixed up. There aren't enough classrooms. Can't help it. This building is being rented from the forgery services, after all. Forestry, sorry. When she says it like that, it makes sense. I've thought our school was strange for a while now. The schoolyard is gravel, there are rooms that aren't for classes, and there's some strange sort of construction machinery parked here. Why is it being borrowed? What happened to the real school? There was one here forever, before the war. It got dilapidated. They closed it down. It probably was a grad school house. Well, because of that, these students would have been attending school in the city. That's pretty far though, you know. Which school would it be? Did you know there's a school if you pass by the Okinomiya train station at the hospital and head towards the pediatrics department? Well, what? So far? I couldn't tell where that was by location, but I understood it was pretty far from Rina's reaction. Well, that's why. The guys that didn't want to commute to Okinomiya rented out the building from the forestry department, forestry services, and are attending this pseudo schoolhouse here. About half the children in Hinamizawa go here. There are quite a lot of kids that come here on bike. Well, since they're attending this really messed up school, it might be pretty hard for them to get into higher education. That's not true, Michan. If you study properly, you can go anywhere you want. Yeah, that's right. I totally agree with Rina on this one. That's right. Let's try our best. All of you, try your best. This old man will be rooting for you. Is she excluding herself out? Not just to us, you too! You should be preparing for exams, shouldn't you? Your future is bleak with grades like this. Fine, just fine. If I get stuck, then I'll just mooch off K-chan as he works forever. What do you mean by work forever? What do you mean? Hey, you're too loud. Be quiet during self-study. The teacher yelled at all three of us. It was completely our fault. Satoko saw it and chortled loud, hauntingly. I stuck out my tongue at her response. It's just as me says, you know. The school has nothing to do with higher education, but it makes up for that by having a lot of valuable things other schools don't. It's only June, but it's already so hot. I could hear the Higurashi outside chirping, me, and at night there are mosquitoes. It might as well be summer already. My only salvation was that the mornings are still cool. Summer, I do declare. Sadako was flapping her skirt. That's pretty unladylike there. Even if she was a little brat, she's still a girl. Kei-chan does seem quite cool with just a single button-up shirt. I'm so jealous. From how I see things, the skirt you're wearing looks like it would be much cooler. A girl like you just wouldn't understand wearing jeans during this season and how steamy the crotch gets. Why would you say that to her? It gets so steamy. How? This girl has gone imagining something indecent. Rina's summer clothes have a nice refreshing color. I feel cooler just looking at them. Speaking of which, our school doesn't have a uniform. Yeah, it doesn't. As long as they're proper, then regular clothes are fine. There are quite a few students with regular clothes. There are a few wearing uniforms, but they are the same design and rather plain. What's the uniform they're all wearing? They're all the same. That's the city school's uniform. It's not like there's a rule, but they're all wearing them. Speaking of which, everyone in our group is wearing a different uniform, aren't we? Did you go out of your way to get them from somewhere? Why, yes, Mion-san supplied them. Mi-chan's relative runs a secondary clothing store. We can get school clothes from all over the country for cheap, they say. So you ask those relatives to get a bunch of unique school uniforms in. That Mio, and she probably loves using her friends as dress-up dolls. That must be strange, secondhand clothing store. Must be a strange secondhand clothing store. I get that it's a secondhand clothing store, but stocking clothes from schools all over the country? That's pretty strange for a secondhand clothing store. What's the point of stocking up on clothing from faraway schools they know nothing about? Yeah, I think so too. They also have used swimsuits, PE uniforms. I don't like the idea of having used ones. Doesn't sound like the shop makes much money. They probably have Mion pitch in and help so they can make a bit more. Mion says it's a big hit. It's become a great store. With such conviction. A secondhand clothing store that stocks school uniforms will be a big hit? I don't get it. Uh-oh. Let's see. You're saving? Alrighty. We will pick this back up. Wow. Oh, a ton of save spots. You could save forever. Can I rename it? No. Alrighty, we will pick this back up. Thank you for watching.